don't know what to say when people are, asking me if I've been baptized, because
No would be the answer.
yeah, no would be
Technically,
would be the answer, I think.
Yeah.
I was
Well,
that twice. Anyway, go ahead.
No, yeah. So I was gonna say, like, because I used to kind of have these discussions with my family and be like, well, like, haven't you guys considered this? And of course, I mean, they hadn't, which is no fault of theirs, I guess. They had just never they had never been presented with a lot of these. But so, for instance, if I went to my parents and said, hey, like, I want you guys to watch this this video that I did with these two interesting guys and listen to it and tell me, like, how you could possibly believe at the end of this. I'd be shocked if they got through it to the first of all. But if they did, I think their response would be to undermine our credibility psychologically, just to say, like, well, you're so gleefully wrapped up in this disavowing of our creed that I think your heart has been hardened. You've become.
Now, are they young Earth creationists or evangelistic or what's?
They're evangelicals. They believe in a young Earth.
Okay, so that narrative. Okay, my I'm going to say specialty just because I don't know what else to call it. But when I first got started on YouTube, was debunking young Earth creationism. This is how a lot of Kyle and I got started. I had Ken Hovind on a few times. We were just, wrecking him. And so that's something that I could really address for your family. So if you ever had a video on that, that's what they should listen to. They should go listen to Apologia, especially something like that, who makes these videos explaining, right, why young Earth creationism is just absolute nonsense. And he does a very good job because I don't know if you guys know Apologia very well.
We want to have him on, yeah.
He's excellent.
Oh yeah, you should definitely get him on. He's cool.
He literally got to start on my channel. But I told him, I said, dude, you're going to be awesome. You're going to be famous, dude. Trust me. And what he's doing this for, though, is actually for his kids. I don't know if you guys know this, but
no, I don't.
This is public information, so they're confidential. He left his wife split, and they had children, and the children are still in the church, and especially in the young Earth creationism. And he was very much into young Earth creationism back in the day. Okay. And now when he left it, he's realizing how wrong it is. He's trying to make up to that and trying to get his kids to recognize that it's wrong, because he feels guilty because of the misinformation he had put up all those years. And I think that's one of the greatest motives to have a channel that I've ever heard in my entire life.
That's incredible.
Here's the thing that I'll ask your family, though, up until this point, if they got to this point, whether they think that my heart's hardened or Steve's heart's hardened, they're not. I would ask if they could genuinely get past the, what we were wrapped up in, and objectively answer these questions. Like, why is it that X? Why is it that Y? Why is it that, the thing with the Garden of Eden, the contradictions, the murder, the God seemingly being okay with killing a general's daughter for him winning a war? Answer these questions. And if you can't, at the end of the day, answer these questions, ask yourself why. Ask yourself why you can't understand this. If God is giving you the ability to understand your eternal soul, like, what can happen with that, and supposedly giving you the steps to do so, why are the steps not clear? Why are they so vague? And then why are these steps chosen by a group of men in Nicaea to be those steps? What if there's more? What if there was other books that were supposed to go into this but weren't chosen in this American Idol version of the Bible? Why can't you get answers to these questions? And if you can't answer that question, then I would go to answer yourself, why are you willing to be okay with all of this horrible when you don't have to be? Because I'm sure your family are really good people. And if this wasn't about a God or deity, if you just gave them a fact sheet of somebody that was homophobic, misogynist, sexist, believed in slavery, they would distance themselves as far as they could from that person. Why is this any different?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. I think because I've done almost everything I can imagine to bring up all of these counter arguments and just say, like, but how at the end of the day could you ever believe these sorts of things? And the problem is that I think that the logic of these questions never actually gets touched because there's an emotional barrier to them.
Sure.
I think especially, I mean, people, I mean, my parents in their 50s and they've believed their entire lives. I mean, that's like, you know, I mean, I've known Adam my entire life, basically. At age 55, if someone just presented to me all of these things that I had never known about Adam, all of these like contradictions in how he acts and these terrible things that he's done.
He's a real ass from what I understand, right?
Yeah, he's a terrible guy. I would be so conflicted and torn as to, and it'd be so tempting, even if I was presented with strong evidence, to just disavow it and discredit it and say, I don't know, but I just can't believe it.
Yeah, it's a different type of effect because it's contrary to the narrative that you've been exposed to. And I have found, in order to get people out of young Earth creationism, is that you have to find just that one chink, that one piece of data that is just irrefutable, that sets a domino effect in motion. When I had somebody leave one time, it was because they were convinced, they were big fans of Hovind, absolutely convinced macroevolution didn't exist. They were done. Steve, you're an idiot. Why do you believe in evolution? Macroevolution is no such thing. And I was like, well, let me explain it to you. And we actually had a debate on it. And he literally came back a couple hours later and said, hey, you know, I just checked what you said and it seems to be right. A month later, he left young Earth creationism. So it's that one chink. That was his chink. Now, other people have other chinks that they might, like, for example, Ken Hovind. I've got him to admit 2 of his claims completely BS. And he was aware of it, and he doesn't care. That is, some other people have looked into that and went, oh.
I think what you're saying, Steve, is get rid of Ken Hovind. All of your examples lead back to Ken Hovind. So if
he's one of the. If
we're able to get rid of Kent Hovind,
I will say this, and I don't usually say things like this, but there's a handful of people. If they, on their passing, I'm not going to mourn by any stretch of the imagination. The world would be a better place. And I'm not trying to be, vile on that, but I have to look at the big picture. Or what's worse is when people say this, they say, well, how are you judging people? If you don't have a belief in God, or how do you have the moral standing to question things that are in the Bible? Me, as the person who loves virtue ethics, right? And I love morality and concepts like that, I'm able to justify it and destroy them in these conversations. And they don't even know what the hell I'm talking about half the time. And you're like, well, you still don't have moral standing. I'm like, you have no idea what you're talking about, do you?
Yeah, but you do. That's what you say, Steve. You have moral standing.
I have moral standing, yes.
No, I'm saying you're to the Christian. Oh. Okay, let's take them at face value. Let's pretend I don't have moral standing, but they do because they believe in God. You should be able to say that the God that you believe in is advocating for slavery and murder and all this other. But you're not saying that that's immoral. So where does that put the blame there? I think that's
all matter on that too. Exactly. I've said the same thing to them. I'm like, look, if God grants you these morals, and even if you subscribe to what's called divine demand theory, which is an ethical subjectivism position, God gives you the ability to formulate what is right or wrong in normative ethical theories. So if God has this ability and he's given it to you to reason and to have decisions of what you think is permissible, morally permissible and morally impermissible, and you're looking at something in the Bible going something like the slavery or that women can't be raped in marriage, and you don't find that morally repugnant, then I don't know where you're getting your sense of morality from. Because I mean, I could understand an apologist saying, well, okay, God doesn't really think those things. Okay. At least you're acknowledging that you're going to want to believe in a being that doesn't have that kind of repugnant morality. But not all those do. Stephen Anderson believes in a God where you can't be raped in marriage. I'm sorry, that God that he worships, if that's what he's advocating, is not a moral being. It's just not. But
do you guys know the apologist Frank Turek?
Oh, yes.
Okay, yeah. So I was listening to, what's that kid's name? Alex O'Connor.
They had a debate on one of the best debates I've ever seen, actually.
Yeah, it was an interesting talk, but I gotta confess, I actually paused it, like, probably it's like an hour long, maybe like 35 minutes into it, just because I couldn't stand the conversation anymore. Because, I think Alex is very smart, but Frank, I don't think he's being disingenuous at all, but I'm not sure he can honestly follow the arguments that were being presented. I don't think he was being disingenuous. I think he couldn't follow it. Like he couldn't get past the idea of objective morality. He kept saying, well, how can you, at the end of the day, is the Holocaust just subjectively wrong? And it's like, well, you have to, and Alex kept saying, well, given that, we value human well-being, and that's sort of like an assumption we're going off of here, human well-being through that context. Of course, it's objectively wrong that, people, suffered, under, for years at a time. And, he kept expanding on this and he was like, so you're saying it's not objectively wrong. And it's like, he misses it.
Sounds weird, right? And I happen to like Alex. I've talked to Alex numerous times about morality and he will listen to me. I disagree with him on a few things, but Alex has some difficulties in his ontology. I don't know if you know Rationality Rules.
I've seen a few of their videos.
Brilliant guy. One of the most.
They did a response to Alex, right?
Yeah, and I happen to agree with Rationality Rules. I mean, Rationality Rules knows this stuff inside and out. I've never seen a person, a layperson, that knows philosophy as well as Rationality Rules does. So I happen to agree with him on the stance. But I mean, it's not like Alex has it really completely wrong. He just has a little bit things that needs to be pointed out. But here's the thing, because Alex tells me he's a moral error theorist, which I happen to tend to as well. But a moral error theorist is not going to subscribe to moral realism or even more objectivism or subjectivism. It's a different thing altogether. But what Turek does is this: he's trying to conflate objective with absolute. And that doesn't work that way. Now, I do believe objective morality can exist. Rationality Rules and Matt Dillahunty, a lot of other people believe, and Sam Harris believe, and Shakira will say this. This is how objective morality would exist. And it's not that complicated as people think it is. All it is this. If you're going to ground it in some kind of goal, like amoidia, which is human flourishing, or harms and benefits, if that's your grounding, it's called a hypothetical imperative. And a hypothetical imperative means that I'm going to be doing something that will get me to my goal that's objectively true. A fact would be something along the lines of, if I want to win a race, I have to run fast. That is a fact, right? I mean, then you could say, well, what happens if you don't want to run the race? Well, then you're not doing the goal that you're going for, right? So objective just means it applies to people in those situations. If those are your goals, that's what an objective moral framework would be.
What if you want to win the race by taking a car, though?
But it doesn't change the fact, though.
Did you guys see Frank Turek?
It remains the same.
Christopher Hitchens?
Who against Christopher Hitchens?
Frank Turek.
Maybe, but I'm not recalling.
I've seen so much Christopher Hitchens.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, probably somewhere down the line.
He was brilliant. This guy asked him a question. They were doing the Q&A, and he said, why don't you just stay home? You come in and you make all of these you make all of these allegations against religion, and it's not harming people. It's not harming any people. Who is it hurting if I want to believe in God? And Frank Turk's right there smiling, and Frank Turk goes, but where does how do you word it? Something about like ultimately what does it take to be evil? Like he misses off all these things and he says, what if all of these things are evil? Like, how do you know what evil is? And he goes, no, Frank Turk says, where does evil come from? And Hitchens looked over and he goes, religion. And the place just goes crazy. So if you want to watch, if you want to see Frank Turk get his ass completely handed to him, I mean, he takes it that entire.
He's an apologist. He again, his goal is like William Lane Craig. They're there to win an argument. They're not there to make sense.
Well, he
used a lot of rhetoric.
He lost it big time.
Frank Turk's actually going to be on Atheist Edge coming up here soon with Jim Hall.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Steve, I've been meaning to say this for like at least an hour and a half now, but I have seen you on YouTube probably in 3 videos at this point. I recognized your face right when you came on. Like what channels have you appeared on? I mean, I'm sure it's a ton, but
you asking me?
He's quite notorious.
Yeah, I've seen you notorious. I've seen you like 3 different episodes on YouTube.
I'm on a show called Non-Sequitur Show with Kyle.
Okay, but have you guest appeared like on any?
Yeah, I've been on Holy Kool-Aid. I've been on
yes, I have definitely watched.
I've been on Atheist Edge. I've been in the atheist community of Austin's Discord as a guest. That's not visual.
He fights often with people, so you'll often see him.
I'm a fighter. Yeah, I'm a scrapper.
You'll see him.
I'm the most loved, hated person on the internet sometimes because I don't follow the narratives.
There's fires every week.
Fires
every week.
And this is a bold statement, but I also feel like I've actually seen the debate you held with Kent Hovind too. I think I had
12 debates that I hosted with Kent Hovind with King Crockett.
Okay, yeah. So then I've definitely run into at least one of them, and
we had King Crockett debate him and destroy him. We had Bill Ludlow destroyed him. We had on Raw how many times?
Oh, I watched the RN Raw one. That was
it won't happen again though, because about a month ago we were supposed to have Kent Hovind come back to the show, and he was going to debate this guy named Esteban, and some things happened. It was supposed to be a Saturday night. Some things happened, and we were waiting on him to start the show. He wasn't there, so